Did you know, before the 19th century, dentures were made from dead soldiers' teeth? After the Battle of Waterloo, dentists ran to the battlefield to seek out teeth from the thousands of dead soldiers. They then took their bounty to their dental practices and crafted them into dentures for the toothless elite. Welcome to 25 mind-blowing historic facts and trivia that are almost too weird to be true. Part 3. Let's get started. 1. Using forks used to be seen as sacrilegious. The widely used eating utensils were once seen as blasphemous and an offense to God. Why? Because they were artificial hands, and, as such, were considered to be sacrilegious. 2. Mary indeed had a little lamb. Her name was Mary Sawyer. She was an 11-year-old girl who lived in Boston and one day was followed to school by her pet lamb. In the late 1860s, she helped raise money for an old church by selling wool from the lamb. 3. Back in the 16th century, the wealthy elite used to eat dead bodies. It was rumored the cadavers could cure diseases. The highest delicacy? Egyptian mummies. 4. Winston Churchill typically smoked 8 to 10 cigars a day, sometimes as much as 15. During the American Prohibition, he would get a doctor's note saying he needed to drink indefinite amounts of alcohol when he would come and visit the States. 500 million years ago, the Sahara Desert was inhabited by galloping crocodiles. Back then, the Sahara Desert was a lush oasis full of life and full of predators. In 2009, fossil hunters found the remains of crocodiles that had large land-going legs that were capable of galloping across the land at breakneck speeds. 6. Before the 19th century, dentures were made from dead soldiers' teeth. After the Battle of Waterloo, dentists ran to the battlefield to seek out teeth from the thousands of dead soldiers. They then took their bounty to their dental practices and crafted them into dentures for the toothless elite. 7th Roman Emperor Gaius, also known as Caligula, made one of his favorite horses a senator. The emperor loved his horse, named Incitatus, so much that he gave him a marble stall, an ivory manger, a jeweled collar, and even a house. Caligula also allegedly planned to make his trusty steed consul before his assassination. 8. Sure, we've all heard of the Boston Tea Party, but what about the Boston Molasses disaster? On January 15, 1919, a 90-foot-wide cast-iron tank filled to the brim with sticky molasses exploded and spilled 2.5 million gallons of crude molasses into the streets of Boston. The brown stuff ran through the streets like a tsunami, with 15-foot-high waves reaching speeds of 35 miles per hour. The molasses demolished everything in its path, toppling buildings, drowning horses, and eventually killing 21 and injuring 150. 9. When Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette were beheaded, it is said that people dipped handkerchiefs in their blood to keep as souvenirs. In 2011, a group of scientists confirmed that a blood-stained handkerchief dated approximately 1793 was soaked in the blood of Louis XVI. 10. In 1644, English statesman Oliver Cromwell banned the eating of pie. He declared it a pagan form of pleasure. For 16 years, pie eating and making went underground until the Restoration leaders lifted the ban on pie in 1660. 11. John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, founding fathers and the second and third presidents of the United States, respectively, died within hours of each other on July 4, 1826, the 50th anniversary of the adoption of the Declaration of Independence. Adams's last words were, "Jefferson lives," unaware that his old friend had died earlier that day. 12. Joan of Arc convinced Charles VII she could lead his armies with no experience. She routed the English, survived a 60-foot escape leap from a tower uninjured, was falsely accused of heresy, and burned at the stake, all between the ages of 17 and 19. She was guided by voices only she could hear. 13. The sound made by the Krakatoa volcanic eruption in 1883 was so loud it ruptured the eardrums of people 40 miles away, traveled around the world 4 times, and was clearly heard 3,000 miles away. That's like standing in New York and hearing a sound from San Francisco. 14. The South African Railway once employed a baboon. In his 8 years of service, he never made a single mistake. 15. The Tale of Two Lovers, an erotic novel, was one of the best-selling books of the 15th century. It was written by Pope Pius II before he assumed the papacy. 16. It's believed that roughly 97% of history has been lost over time. Written accounts of history only started roughly 6,000 years ago. Modern humans first appeared around 200,000 years ago. 17. Before Julius Caesar invaded Britain, many Romans didn't believe it existed. Julius Caesar was the first ever Roman to invade Britain. He did it twice in the years 55 and 54 BC. Some Romans believed Britain to be just the foot of another huge northern continent. Others thought it was a place full of unbelievable riches, whilst most thought it just didn't exist. 18. The Soviet Union tried to snuff out the memory of Genghis Khan. During the Soviet-era rule of the late 20th century, simply mentioning the great Mongolian conqueror's name was a crime against the USSR. The Soviets removed his story from school textbooks and outlawed pilgrimages to his birthplace of Khanty. 19. The guillotine was invented to create equality in execution. Until its widespread use, the regular methods of execution in France were rather savage. Punishment like being drawn and quartered was common. The idea to use the guillotine as the main method of execution was part of the movement for equality in France that spurred on the revolution. 20. Adolf Hitler helped design the Volkswagen Beetle. Between Hitler and Ferdinand Porsche, the iconic bug-like car was designed as part of a Hitler-revived German initiative to create an affordable and practical car that everyone could own. 21. The ancient Egyptians used slabs of stone as pillows. In ancient Egypt, the head was considered to be the seat of spiritual life and had to be cared for. Therefore, when getting into bed, the Egyptians would place their heads on a stone with a curve in it. 22. The first known artworks date back roughly 100,000 years ago. It is believed to have begun with the Homo sapiens during the Upper Paleolithic era. The oldest known artworks were found in a cave in what is now France. 23. During World War II, Americans called hamburgers Liberty Steaks. This was because hamburger sounded a little too German. Also, during World War II, sauerkraut was redubbed Liberty Cabbage. 24. The Dutch Silly War lasted 335 years and had no battles or deaths. Spanning between 1651 to 1986, the war was a byproduct of the English Civil War and the decision of the Dutch to side with the parliamentarians over the Royalists. The Royalists had raided a few Dutch shipping vessels in revenge before fleeing to the Isles of Scilly. The Dutch turned up, demanding reparations from the Royalists, and when they didn't pay up, declared war. But they decided to call it a day and go home pretty sharpish, as they realized the Royalists didn't have a penny to their names. The only thing is, they never declared peace with the Isles and just completely forgot they were at war. 25th. Adolf Hitler's nephew fought against the Nazis in World War II. During the Second World War, William Patrick Hitler, later William Patrick Stewart Houston, was drafted into the United States Navy, where he served as a hospital corpsman throughout the war until 1947. He was wounded in action and was awarded the Purple Heart, and went on to gain American citizenship. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment if you like this video. Please subscribe to help this channel grow. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Thank you.